Bienvenidos a la Biblioteca Benjamín Franklin. Hoy, junto con nuestros colegas de Education USA presentamos a los representantes de University of Southern California, quienes nos presentarán sus programas de posgrado. Comenzamos.
Muchas gracias. ¿Y a dónde se fueron los chicos que estaban aquí? Gracias. Muchas gracias a la gente que se está conectando por el Facebook de la Biblioteca Benjamín Franklin, a los American Spaces que están aquí en México. Bueno, pues solamente les recordamos que la Biblioteca Benjamín Franklin da información a los mexicanos sobre Estados Unidos. Estamos abiertos de lunes a viernes de las 10 de la mañana a las 7 de la noche. Pueden venir a participar a nuestras diferentes actividades culturales y educativas. Los miércoles a las 5 de la tarde tenemos cine, cada mes tenemos karaoke, tenemos un concierto y tenemos también otras actividades para que practiquen inglés más formalmente, como los clubes de conversación temáticos y sobre American Culture. Tenemos también algunas actividades como la noche de juegos en la que pueden venir a practicar inglés jugando juegos de mesa con estadounidenses que vienen de la embajada o que viven aquí en México. Tenemos una gran variedad de actividades para toda la familia. De hecho, este viernes 29, que es el día que en Ciudad de México y en algunos otros estados no hay clases, para primarias y secundarias, todo el día tenemos actividades para niños desde las 10 de la mañana, a las 11 de la mañana pueden venir a leerle a Cala, que es una perrita que está entrenada y a la que los niños le leen para mejorar su capacidad lectora, para que pierdan el miedo en leer también. Al mismo tiempo ocurre el club de libros, donde una niña de 10 años que fundó este club de libros que se llama Los Lectorcitos Pro, trae lecturas y actividades para niños de todas las edades. Después tenemos una tarde maker donde este mes vamos a realizar un cómic. Bueno, lo vamos a desarrollar un personaje y les vamos a enseñar cómo crear su propio cómic. De 3 a 5 vamos a armar legos. A las 3:30 tenemos una plática con una chica del Consejo Juvenil de la Embajada que nos va a enseñar cómo desde niños y adolescentes organizarnos financieramente para que comiencen a ahorrar y comiencen a aprovechar ese domingo que les dan o el dinerito que les dan todos los días para el lunch y que a lo mejor se quedan guardado una parte. Y a las 5 de la tarde tenemos el karaoke. Entonces, pues acompáñenos en nuestras diferentes actividades y como saben, estamos también colaborando más cercanamente con Education USA y esta tarde tienen a representantes de la Universidad de Southern California que les van a hablar sobre estudios de posgrado. Entonces, bueno, pues les voy a presentar a Ángela y les vamos a dar información. Muchísimas gracias, bienvenidos.
Gracias, Claudia. Gracias a ustedes, a la Biblioteca Benjamin Franklin y a Education USA por recibirnos. Soy Ángela McCracken, la directora de la oficina en México de la Universidad de Southern California. Al final les daré mi contacto, con mucho gusto. Es una oficina de vinculación entre la universidad y México para incrementar la presencia de USC, así llamamos a la Universidad del Sur de California, USC en corto. Su presencia en México y la presencia de México en USC de varias formas, académicas y educativas. Y hoy es un placer tener a mi colega Marisol Ríos del campus de Los Ángeles, de la Facultad de Políticas Públicas, Price, de la USC, representando los programas de posgrado. Y nos va a dar tips sobre cómo elegir un programa de posgrado. Marisol tiene 24 años en admisiones y becas de posgrados en USC, entonces es sumamente informada en todo el proceso de admisiones y la selección, entonces aprovechan a hacerle preguntas cómo mejorar sus solicitudes, cuáles son las oportunidades. No hay nadie que conoce mejor que ella. Además que representa la Facultad de Price, que es de las mejores en Estados Unidos en todo de asuntos públicos. Entonces, muchas gracias por venir, Marisol, y te dejo la palabra. Oh, perdón, a Magali, perdón, voy a pasar la palabra a Education USA. Perdón.
Hola, hola, buenas tardes. Gracias a los que se están uniendo con nosotros de forma virtual y también a los que están en presencial. Bueno, me presento muy brevemente, soy Magali Hernández, soy el advisor de Education USA en la Ciudad de México. Como ya lo comentamos, el día de hoy nuestro tema va a ser How to find the right career program for you. Pero primero vamos a empezar con un poquito de información de qué hacemos en Education USA y cómo nosotros los apoyamos durante todo este proceso. Bueno, what is Education USA? Education USA is a global network. We advise and guide you through all the process. Y bueno, también aquí en México tenemos 23 centros. Todos nuestros servicios son totalmente gratuitos. Pueden acercarse con nosotros con cualquier duda para todo su proceso de solicitud de admisión. Trabajamos con la cercanía de alumnos, profesores, representantes de la universidad. Pueden conocer mucho más de nuestros servicios en nuestra página de educationusa.state.gov. Todos nuestros servicios son totalmente gratuitos. Tenemos eventos en el centro, por ejemplo, como esta sesión informativa. También tenemos sesiones 1 a 1 con los estudiantes o interesados que quieran realizar sus estudios en Estados Unidos. También tenemos workshops. En estos talleres les damos, por ejemplo, pueden ser sobre ensayos, pueden ser para mejorar tu CV. Tenemos también materiales que son totalmente gratuitos. Tenemos en línea y también tenemos aquí el material en físico en la biblioteca. Hacemos actividades de outreach. Estas actividades, nosotros visitamos sus instituciones en las cuales también les otorgamos sesiones informativas, talleres. También podemos participar en sus ferias educativas. Y también tenemos sesiones virtuales. En estas sesiones virtuales tenemos ferias, sesiones, webinars con diferentes instituciones. Entonces, si quieren estar conectados con cualquier universidad de Estados Unidos, conocer las oportunidades en específico, acudan a nosotros en cualquiera de estas modalidades, viniendo al centro, en línea o visitando su institución. ¿Cuáles son nuestros servicios? Nuestros servicios son Research Your Options. En este nos enfocamos en investigar tus opciones. Representamos las más de 4,000 instituciones en Estados Unidos, desde community colleges hasta Ivy Leagues, de todo. Si ustedes ya tienen idea de lo que quieren realizar, qué institución a la cual quieren solicitar admisión, nosotros los ayudamos. Si aún están en la búsqueda, también los asesoramos. Estamos para encontrar la mejor opción para ustedes. En el segundo paso es el financiamiento de sus estudios. Nosotros no somos un programa de becas, pero sí los asesoramos para buscar la mejor beca dentro de la institución o por otras instituciones, ¿vale? Completar tu solicitud. En el tercer paso, aquí nos enfocamos en mejorar su solicitud de admisión, que implica el CV, los ensayos, la entrevista, los exámenes estandarizados, los exámenes de la certificación de inglés. Para todo esto tenemos recursos que, recuerden, son totalmente gratuitos. En el cuarto paso nos enfocamos para la aplicación de la visa. Recuerden, se solicita la visa de estudiante hasta que ya fueron admitidos a alguna institución. Y en el quinto paso, bueno, es prepararse para su partida. Aquí les comentamos qué llevar, qué no llevar, cómo llegar y acercarse a la oficina de estudiantes internacionales cuando lleguen a su institución. Como pueden ver, estamos desde el inicio, desde que tienes esa idea de estudiar en Estados Unidos hasta que ya están, ¿vale? ¿Alguna pregunta sobre el proceso? No. Bueno, ¿cómo inician su proceso con nosotros? En la parte de abajo pueden ver que está nuestro correo mexicocity@educationusa.org. Ahí nos pueden escribir solicitando cómo contactar a su asesor más cercano. Los que están aquí en la Ciudad de México, su centro es el de la Ciudad de México, que está ubicado en Benjamín Franklin Library, y los demás centros, bueno, acérquense a nosotros, escríbanos un correo y nosotros los dirigimos con los demás centros. También ahí pueden encontrar todas nuestras redes sociales para nuestros próximos eventos. Bueno, ahora sí, le doy la palabra a nuestro speaker del día de hoy. Listo. Welcome.
Muchas gracias. I'm going to be juggling this. Let me see. Give me a second. Okay. Buenas tardes o noches, ¿cómo se dice? Gracias a Education USA por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí a presentarles información de cómo encontrar un programa de maestrías en los Estados Unidos y también darme la oportunidad de hablar poquito de la Facultad de Políticas Públicas en USA. Mi presentación va a ser en inglés. Si tienen preguntas al último y si se sienten más a gusto preguntármelas en español, lo pueden hacer, pero les voy a contestar en inglés. Bueno. So I'm going to be talking about how to find the right graduate program for you. So there's a lot of graduate programs in the US. There's a lot of interest. There's PhD programs, master's programs that you might be interested in. It's really important for you to start doing the search of the schools that you're interested, degrees that you might be interested. I like to congratulate you all for being here, and those who are watching on Facebook Live for taking the first step in looking for and doing your research on applying to graduate education in the US. Take advantage of the services that Education USA has to offer you. It's a really great program, and a lot of the resources that are available to you will be helpful for you and when you're searching for graduate programs, a master's or a PhD program. So again, congratulations for starting and taking this step and finding the right program for you. So choosing a graduate program, there's a few questions that you want to ask yourself when you're looking and you're choosing for a graduate program. How does the degree program fit with you and your short and long-term career goals? Does the graduate program offer further specializations within the degree? What resources are available through the program? Consider the location of the program. Some schools are small, some are big, so that's really important. Also consider the cost of attending the program. So it's going to vary by institution. So those are questions that you need to start thinking about, and when you're searching for a program, these are some questions that you need to consider. So when you're researching programs, some of the program considerations that you need to consider is the type of programs offered at each institution. So if you're looking for master's programs, make sure that they do offer master's programs in the schools that you're interested in. Also PhD programs. You want to make sure that they offer PhD programs, you know, of your fit in some of these institutions. Some institutions might be small, some of them are large, so the size is going to matter, and it's going to depend on what you're comfortable with, because you might be interested in a smaller type program, a bigger program, and also the resources too, because that's going to matter on the size of the school. So those are things that you need to take into consideration. Courses available. You want to pay attention. You might be looking at comparing, for example, if you're looking at public affairs programs, public policy programs, we're all different. All the schools that offer different public policy programs, their course selections are different. Their specializations might be different. Their research centers might be different in their focus. So you want to take a look at the courses that are available when you're searching for a particular program. Rankings are important. For example, if you're looking at certain institutions and certain programs, the schools are ranking, and a lot of people do pay attention to the rankings. For example, the Price School of Public Policy, we're ranked number 4 in public affairs. So for some students who are doing the research, the rankings matter, but it might not be the most important thing for you when you're looking, because it can be a high ranked school, but they might not offer the programs that you might be interested, or they might not offer the specializations that you might be interested in. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So you can pay close attention to the ranking and the offerings, but it's something for you to consider because the ranking maybe might not reflect the type of experience that you're going to have, in particular with your courses and the degree that you're interested in the course selection. And then something else to consider is the resources and the support. So during the program, you want to make sure that there's a lot of resources that are available to you as a student in regards to workshops, events. Institutions will offer research seminars, workshops on educational workshops. So you want to make sure that you also pay attention to the resources that are available to you as a student when you're applying. And then after the program, you want to pay close attention to the alumni and the networking events. So the larger the university, the larger the alumni network. And so we have a large alumni network at USC, but also the Price School of Public Policy. We are a large private university, and so research university. So we have a large alumni network. So that, if that matters to you, that's something else that you need to be paying close attention to. And then the job prospects is something else that you need to consider. What are the jobs that are going to be available for you after you graduate when you're applying to a particular school? So that's something else that you want to pay close attention when you're looking at the schools that you're researching, and you do that by looking at the Career Services website and checking to see what the job prospects are for graduates when they're completing the program. Logistical issues. Location. So if you like the beach, you like sunny, and you don't like the rain, or if you prefer the winter and you like the snow, those are things that you have to take into consideration when you're applying to a graduate program. Because the weather, you're going to be there for probably 2 years if you're doing a master's program, but if you're doing a PhD program, you're going to be there for 4 years, maybe 5. So location is going to be very important for you to consider when you're applying. Also, it depends too on certain topics. So if there's a particular program that you're interested in, I'm going to give you an example. If you're interested in a master's in urban planning, you want to do the program in an urban city that has a lot more to offer you versus a suburb, a college, a university that's in the rural area. And so you want to also take those things into consideration when you're applying to degree programs. The cost of tuition and attendance, that's something that you should consider when you're applying to graduate programs. Private universities' tuition tends to be higher than public universities in the United States, but sometimes you pay the out-of-state tuition or the international fees could be a little bit higher. So if you're comparing private and public institutions, sometimes it ends up being the same. So you need to start doing your research on the cost of tuition because that's going to be important. And scholarships and financial availability. The programs that you're applying to, if you're applying to PhD programs, most PhD programs will be fully funded and they do offer stipends. For example, at USC, all of our PhD programs are fully funded and they do offer a minimum stipend of $32,000 a year. And so for master's program, it varies. Depending on the institution, depending on the program, it's gonna vary. There are resources out there for international students, so that's something else that you want to take into consideration when you're applying to schools, is the scholarship and how much resources they have available for international students. Scholarships can be awarded based on merit, and most of the time they're awarded based on merit, so they're going to take into consideration your academics. Your GPA, if the program requires a GRE, they're going to take that into consideration. Your TOEFL exam, they'll take that into consideration. So those are things that you have to look at and what's going to make you eligible for a scholarships, because there is a lot. And then the application requirements. You also need to pay close attention to the application requirements. I mentioned the GRE earlier. Some schools now, since the pandemic, a lot of them have eliminated the GRE for master's programs and even some PhD programs. The School of Public Policy at USC, we no longer require the GRE for our master's program with the exception of one program, but our PhD program is requiring the GRE. So that's something else that you want to take into consideration when you're applying to programs. What are the requirements? And the GRE is a big one now because some schools did remove the GRE. A lot of the universities in the US did remove the GRE requirements. Some of them went back to it. So you have to compare that too. That's something else that you want to take into consideration when you're applying to program. Because there is a cost for the GRE and there is the preparation. As an international student, you're going to be required to take the TOEFL exam. And so that's another expense that you'll have, either the TOEFL or the IELTS exam. They're all going to have different requirements. Some schools might only accept the TOEFL. Some other schools might accept both TOEFL and IELTS, the Duolingo exam. And so there's a lot of difference. So it is different for every institution and even for programs within the same university. So that's something that you have to pay close attention to. I think I mentioned after the program. Did I skip? I don't even know if I skipped. I think I had the same. Oh no, here we go. Evaluating the programs. The curriculum. I talked a little bit about the curriculum already and looking at the different programs that the universities that you're looking at and the offerings that they have. Degrees offered, if you're interested in doing, for example, a dual degree, doing 2 master's degree, it's also something that you want to pay close attention to because if the program that you're interested or there's 2 programs that are offered within the same university, that's going to be a benefit for you because you can apply to 2 programs and get a master's degree in a shorter period of time. So there's those type of offerings, so you want to pay close attention to that. The course load and the required courses. The units can be varied by program and institution. And so at the master's level, again, I'm going to reference USC and the Price School of Public Policy. Most of our 2-year master's programs are about 48 units, between 40 and 48. But maybe the same program, similar program, might have less unit requirements at another institution. So there's a lot of differences in the programs and the number of units. Obviously, if there's less units, it's going to cost you less. And so you pay close attention to that. PhD programs, the same, the requirements, it's about 60 units at USC, but if you come in with a master's degree already, they'll count some of the courses that you've taken at the master's level, so you wouldn't have to do the 60 units. You would do 40. So those are things that you need to take into consideration when you're looking at programs, because that'll matter and that'll shorten the period, the amount of time that you're going to be there. And the course offerings, is there flexibility for you to take courses? Because that might matter to you if you don't have the flexibility to take electives outside of your program. Some programs are very set where you have no room to take electives. For example, our programs do allow for flexibility. You have electives, you have about 12 units of elective, which is 3 classes that you can pick and choose from outside of your degree program. If that's important to you, that's something that you want to pay close attention to in the curriculum and how flexible it is. If you have an interest in, for example, you're doing a master's in public policy, but you have an interest in education policy and you want to take one of your electives at the education program, you have that flexibility. So those are things that you want to pay attention when you're applying to a master's program, is the flexibility. The other thing that is important for some students, and it depends on the type of degree that you're applying to, is the full-time faculty and part-time faculty. How many full-time faculty? Are most of the courses being taught by full-time faculty, or are they being taught by part-time faculty? And so sometimes that matters. The full-time faculty are usually, they're research focused. It's more going to be probably the theory-based type subjects that they're going to be offering. Part-time faculty tend to be people that schools, the universities, and the programs bring in that have the practical experience, and they'll share their knowledge of the field of them being. They're not faculty, they're professionals working in the field for most of the time part-time. At least that's how it is at the Price School of Public Policy. Our part-time faculty are practitioners who are in the field and who are working, and they come into the classroom and teach courses and share their experiences. So it's a different type of experience, and then the full-time faculty tend to be more focused on the theory. And so you're applying the theory to the practice. So you want to pay attention to that too when you're looking at programs and looking what is it that you're looking for in regards to your experience in a master's program. And then do they offer classes online or on campus? For international students, classes online, it really depends, because some schools, and it depends on, I guess the Department of Education, and I'm not sure in Mexico if they allow, if it's recognized for students to do online courses. So, you know, it varies, so that you want to make sure that you need to check into that and see if you can even take online courses, because there's a lot of online programs offered in the US. And then on campus, obviously. But an on-campus experience is going to be completely different from an online experience. If you have the opportunity to go to the campus and do the program on campus, it's going to be a completely experience than doing it virtually. And then other campus resources, if you have interest in, you know, student organizations, if you want to get involved outside of your program, you know, those are things that you need to look at depending on what is it that you're looking for. You want to see that the school does have those offerings within the university and also within the degree program that you're applying. A lot of students are looking for opportunities to be engaged during the program. They want to get involved, and they want to get involved in different activities as a student. So those are things that you want to pay close attention to and see what the student involvement is. I would say that since the pandemic, that has changed a lot. What I've noticed, I've seen that at USC, and I think other universities are seeing it on campus, that the engagement of students is a lot lower. I think students got too comfortable being online and virtual, where that's kind of normal to them. So bringing them on campus and being engaged is a little bit difficult, because they're not used to that. And so if that's what you're looking for, a lot of the schools at the university, we're looking to engage the students. We want to bring the students back and get them engaged during their time at the program. So there's a lot of opportunities for that. So you want to pay attention to that. Professional development is also important. I touched a little bit about career services. You want to, when you're researching programs, you also want to see that they offer these services within the program that you're applying to. Sometimes some of the universities do offer career services, professional development within the university, the large university. But at the master's level, within a school, for example, at the Price School of Public Policy, we do have our own career services office that provides services to students after they're done. During the time of the program, the 2 years that the students are there, but then also after, they provide services to students in helping them. They do one-on-one appointments, and so these are things that you need to pay close attention to when you're looking at programs. Do they offer these services during the time that you're there? And then also the assistance that the support that they're gonna provide to you even after you're done and you become an alumni. So these are very important. These services typically, some of the services that professional development or career services office offer are the one-on-one. You have access to specialized job postings that are particular to your field that you're interested in, that you're going to be working in. You're going to have access to that. And so you want to also make sure that the programs that you're applying do have resources, these kind of services for you. Networking opportunities, there'll be opportunities for you to network during the time that you're in the program, and those are very key because during those networking opportunities, mixers, that's where you might meet someone who's going to maybe open up the door for you in a job opportunity. So this is very important, is the network. USC is known for having a very strong alumni network. And so students who are looking at USC, that's one of the things that they will talk about because they know how strong the alumni network is. So you want to make sure that that's something that you pay attention to and how strong their network is, because you'll have access to the network as a student. And then development workshops, it's just a series of workshops that the programs that you're applying to will offer. So you want to make sure that they do offer these type of programs. And again, I talked a little bit about job prospects and what job prospect opportunities the office, the Career Services Office will offer. Student demographics is also important for you to consider. The student profiles and learning a little bit, doing your research when you're looking at the school's website, look at the student profiles. You know, what's the average age of the student? Is it a diverse student population? You know, where are these students being placed? What areas of practice and where are they being located? Those are all things that you should take into consideration. And all this information you will find, a lot of the schools do and universities do post this information on the website. So it's important for you to, when you're researching, to look for this information, because this information, it should be available. You should be able to find this information. And then finally, these are tips that you should take into consideration when you're researching programs and finding the right fit for you. And allowing yourself enough time to research your prospective schools, because it does take time, and you're starting early if you're looking at applying for next year, or if you're applying this fall, you already start doing your research, because a lot of the deadlines are at the end of this month. Typically December and January is when the applications deadlines are. But if you're considering and applying for the following year, you're way ahead of the game, which is good. And so that's what you need to do. And then know the industry that you're looking into working and the career potential. That does take time. Talk to different people, people who are working in the field that you're interested in picking their brain and finding out a little bit more about the industry. That's always very important. I recommend talking to alumni and current students. Creating a spreadsheet. If you want to be organized, create a spreadsheet with all the institutions that you're applying to, the requirements, the deadlines, because if you're applying to multiple schools, all the schools are going to have different deadlines, so it'll be helpful for you to organize yourself and have a spreadsheet with the different deadlines and the requirements, because all the requirements are going to be different for each institution. Reach out to the admissions office. The admissions offices are there to help you through the process of applying to a graduate program, to a master's program, or a PhD program. So take advantage of that and reach out to admissions offices, because they're open and willing to help you through the application process. So take advantage of that. If you have the opportunity to visit a campus, I highly recommend it, because it's different from you doing the research and looking at pictures on the website. It's really a completely different experience. And so I highly recommend, if there's schools that you're really considering and they're, you know, in your top, I would recommend visiting them. I mean, if you can't, looking for videos and just perusing through the website to see more of the campus. Because it's a different experience if you get to visit, but I highly recommend you visiting. And then the area too, and depending on where the institution is, the university that you're going, and look at the surrounding and look at where the school's located. You know, are you comfortable? Looking around, there's a lot of different things. You might have a list, you might have a school on the top of your list, and then you visit the school, and then you have a completely different experience. And then there might be a school who might not be on your top of the list, and that happens to a lot of students who come and visit USC, at least for public policy. We might not be on the radar, but when they come and visit, it's a completely different experience, and and it's a positive experience. So that changes, if you visit the campus. So I highly recommend doing that. And I mentioned speaking with current students or alumni. They're the ones that are going to give you the real story of their experience. I can't tell you what the experience is as a student because I'm not a student there. And so I can talk to you about the process, I can talk to you about the coursework, but they're going to give you their experience as a student. Alumni are going to talk to you about their networks and how they got their jobs, how it's going. And so if you have the opportunity to talk to current students and alumni of the programs that you're applying to, do it. And don't be shy, because students are always willing to talk to you. Current students always want to talk, and alumni are always willing to talk to students. So take advantage of that. It's going to be helpful for you in deciding even where you apply, or even if you are admitted and deciding where you will end up going to. So that's very important. Before I talk a little bit about the Price School of Public Policy, do any of you have any questions about what I just talked about in choosing your program? No? No? Okay. I'm going to talk briefly about the school of USC Price School of Public Policy. Like Angela mentioned, I've been at USC for 24 years, and I've been with the Price School of Public Policy for 22 years. And all of my experience has been in graduate admissions and also PhD admissions. So I've been part of PhD admissions committee the whole time that I've been at USC. So I have a lot of experience in PhD committees and how that process happens. So if anybody is interested in applying to a PhD program, I can answer a little bit more specific questions about that process, because it's a little bit different than the master's process. The Price School of Public Policy was founded in 1929. We're a smaller professional school at USC. We have 2,100 students. We have about 70 plus full-time faculty, and we have a network of about 20,000 alumni worldwide. As you can see, it's a very large net for a small school. So you could just imagine the network that USC has in general. I don't know, do you know the 450,000 alumni worldwide that USC has in general. So it's a very strong alumni network. At the Price School, we offer 17 academic programs from undergrad, master's, and PhD programs. We are ranked number 4 in the 2023 U.S. News and World Report in the rankings of public affairs school. These rankings come out, now they're coming out every year. These are the specialty rankings that we have rankings in. Urban policy is a ranking, and that we've been ranked high for several years now. Health policy and management, homeland security and emergency management, local government, nonprofit management, public management and leadership, and public policy analysis are some of the areas of specialty rankings that we have within the World News ranking. Our students, 15% are from foreign countries, 45 countries represented. 50% of our students are female, 34% are outside of California, and 42 states are represented. Our master's programs, we offer a lot. We're a very comprehensive school with a lot of offerings. We offer, like I mentioned, undergrad degrees, master's degrees. We offer dual degrees within these programs, so there's a lot of offerings. We offer Masters of Public Policy, a Master's of International Public Policy and Management, Master's of Urban Planning, Master's of Public Administration, Master's of Nonprofit Leadership and Management, Master's of Health Administration, a Master's of Real Estate Development. And then our doctoral programs, we offer a PhD in Public Policy and Management, a PhD in Urban Planning and Development, and we also offer a professional doctor degree, which is different from the PhD. Our professional doctor degree has a different focus, and this is for working professionals that want an advanced degree, but not necessarily want to go into the academia. And so somebody who, working professionals tend to have, students applying to the DPPD program tend to have about 8+ years of work experience. And so you don't see too many schools offering a professional doctor degree, but we have it. So. USC, this year, a few months ago, announced the opening of a new USC Capitol campus in Washington, D.C., so we're very excited about the new campus in D.C., so there's going to be great, as students will have opportunities to do and go to the Washington, D.C. Campus. There's still, it's still in the works. There's still things that haven't been, we don't know what offerings, at least for the Price School of Public Policy, we don't know what we're going to be, if we're going to be offering master's degrees or we're going to be offering Maymesters, which are spring semester sessions. This was just announced, but we are excited to have a building in Washington, D.C. Application requirements, as I mentioned, they vary by program. The graduate application fee is $90. We require original official transcripts, original along with the English translation. The GRE, it is required for our PhD program and for our Master's in Public Policy and Data Science. We do require the TOEFL or the IELTS. There's a resume or a vitae for our PhD programs. We required 3 letters of recommendation, a statement of purpose, and as an international student, the financial statement, which you don't have to have at the time that you apply, but if you are admitted, you want to show financial support for the first year of the program in order for you to be able to get your I-20, where then you can use that to get your visa. And so that's very important. Deadlines, most of our programs for, if you want to be considered for scholarships, because we do offer scholarships up to half tuition for our master's programs, the deadline is December 15, and then our regular admissions deadline is May 1st, and then our PhD deadline is December 1st. Like I mentioned, we do offer scholarships, and they're awarded based on merit to students entering our health administration, our MPA, urban planning, public policy, and nonprofit management. We do offer additional resources. We do have a community impact scholarship, a leadership diversity scholarship, and these are open to students in the U.S. and also international students. Our PhD programs are fully funded. 4 years, PhD students are supported for 4 years, year-round full tuition, competitive stipend, and it also includes health and dental insurance. Questions? I went briefly over the scoop, but if you have any questions about just applying to graduate school, the application process, concerns that you may have, I'm happy to answer them. See. The GRE, so are you applying to a PhD program or to a math? So my recommendation is the GRE, there's test preparation that you can do, and I believe it's Education USA offers test preparation,
We don't offer test preparation, but we do have some workshops. They are not fully a course, but a workshop. We also have material that's online and also physical material. And all advising centers also have those resources. So we can help you prepare for the GRE. And if you want for a like a course, we can also guide you where to look for those courses.
And there is a cost for some of those courses, but you might offer, sometimes they offer, there's offerings, promotions on some of these test preparation companies that offer it. And so that would be my recommendation. I would take time to prepare for the exam. I would, depending on the program that you're applying to, some programs, and this is what you want to ask the admissions office of the programs that you're applying to, because some programs might have more strong focus on the verbal part, and some schools, depending on the program. So for example, if you're applying to a public policy program, we don't require the GRE anymore, but if we did have the GRE, it would be very important as part of the admissions process. So it really depends on the type of program that you're applying to, and check how they weigh the GRE. Some schools might put more weight on the GRE than others, so it really depends what you're applying, the program that you're applying to. So that's part of the research that you also have to start doing early on, and looking at the schools that do require it and learning and finding out how much weight they put on the GRE.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, we do have a question from a student that's joining us virtually. The question is there a master's degree in MBA?
MBA or MPA?
MBA.
MBA. USC does have a master's in business administration. The requirements, I can't talk about the requirements because that's not a program that I represent. I would recommend that they visit the website and learn more about the admissions requirements on the website.
Thank you. I think those are the questions from our friends that join us virtually. Any questions here?
Any other questions? No. No. Bueno, muchas gracias otra vez por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí y presentar. Y voy a estar aquí si alguien tiene alguna pregunta de un programa en particular o si están interesados en uno de los maestrías que represento con la Facultad de Políticas Públicas. Y otra vez, gracias a Education USA. Buenas noches.